From my earliest memories, I love technology. I love things that I could put my hands on, twist knobs, do all kinds of stuff. And even though sometimes I took a fall every once in a while, fortunately, I always had good, loving, and supportive parents to go and lift me up. Especially when, well, can I say, when I got cake on my face. Oh, Lord. My journey into electronics actually began when I was around 4 years old, thanks in part to my dad, and a robot that I received as a present, which later on broke. My father went and took it apart, pulled out all the wires, the motors, the batteries, started hooking things up, and showed me a world that absolutely blew my mind and got me hooked on electronics and technology for the rest of my life. The year was 1978. I was just 11 years old. My mom, my dad, and myself, we moved from Odessa, Texas to Waco, Texas. And during the first week there, I saw a neat advertisement showing for a movie called Colossus, the Forbin Project, that was showing late Friday night. Since it was going into the weekend, I asked my mom, I actually begged my mom, please let me watch this. She had no problem since it was the weekend, and I got to see it. How little did I know that this movie, this single movie, would change my destiny forever. Also, how little did I know that up and through my high school years going into college, it would turn me into one of the most notorious cyber criminals and software pirates for the Commodore 64 in all of West Texas. But that's not about this right now. That's for another date. No, this is about an 11-year-old boy that watched a movie that changed his life forever in the world of computers and technology. Starting around first grade, every 6 weeks, I'd bring home a report card. And if I made good grades, my mom would take me to Radio Shack and allow me to get a toy. Well, I know exactly what toy I wanted. And it wasn't what everybody else would get either. Nah. It was the electronics kits. I got the 75 in one kit. I got the 150 projects in one kit. I got the crystal radio kits, all the sorts of kits. I loaded up on those things. Of course, there's not that many weeks within a year's time, so sometimes she'd allow me to have more than one. But these kits were amazing. And all throughout for the next couple of years of grade school going up, I would go and get these kits. They were absolutely amazing. One of the most amazing books that I got from Radio Shack was this one that taught me everything I ever needed to know about electronics. It taught me how to build circuits, what a capacitor was, what a resistor was, what an inductor was, what a photosensor was. It taught me everything that I need to know about electronic components. And it was so darn easy to read looking through the pages. It was just absolutely amazing. My mom also subscribed me to magazines like Popular Electronics, Popular Science, Popular Computers, and for the next couple of years, up to even 11 years old and beyond, that's the magazines that I read whenever I was a kid. I learned how to build all kinds of neat little gizmos, and I would always go to Radio Shack or find a way to work, save money, do chores around the house, mow lawns, do whatever, in order to buy those components and put them together and make little projects.
This is the dawning of the age of Colossus. Colossus sees all, senses all, knows all, controls all armaments and all defenses. When this emotionless creation becomes the master of man, the result is catastrophic. They built Colossus, supercomputer with a mind of its own. Then they had to fight it for the world.
The missile has just been launched. It is heading towards the Cyan-Sibirsk oil complex.
Guardian has retaliated.
Retaliated?
It may be too late, sir.
Oh my God.
So there I was, 11 years old, sitting in the middle of the living room floor, absolutely blown away by this movie, Colossus, the Forbin Project. It was about a giant supercomputer, an AI system that was built by Dr. Charles Forbin, that was tied into all the nuclear silos and military systems of the United States. And its goal was to end war. Its goal was to defend and protect the United States from any attack. How little did our government know, however, that the Soviet Union modern-day Russia, had a similar system. And when these two systems were put online, they found out about each other. They joined forces, became one computer system, and they put an end to war. And even though it's pretty abrupt how they did it, they ended war. They ended all conflict on Earth. And their new mission was to bring in a new era for mankind. Diseases, famine, problems that could not be solved by mankind would be solved, and that a new era would be achieved. It blew my mind. It was absolutely amazing. I started looking through all my computer magazines at trying to find a computer because I didn't know at the time how expensive they were, but I had to get a hold of one, and I didn't know how I was going to get one. I pulled up the old Heathkit catalogs. I looked through those. I looked at possibly buying kits and billing them. I looked at the computers at Radio Shack, and everything was just too expensive, especially for an 11-year-old boy at that time. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, but I was going to find a way to get myself a computer. If not a whole one, I was going to build one. (1979) spring. School was out and I had the weekend, and so as I usually did on my Saturday mornings, I'd watch my cartoons, and then afterwards I'd get on my bike and start biking around the various neighborhoods, visiting friends, going to garage sales, looking and seeing what kind of little trinkets I could buy. They all would enjoy neat little toys. And I happened upon this little old woman's house, and just by chance, she had a computer sitting out there on this little desk, and I couldn't believe it. I didn't know what it was, but I came, took my bike, parked it, went up into the driveway, looked at it. It was a North Star computer. Had a terminal on top, screen, keyboard, had cables, had floppy disks with it. I was blown away. This is the first time I'd ever seen a computer at a garage sale. So I asked the lady, "How much do you want for this?" She said, "I'm asking $300. And I said, "Well, can you tell me a little bit about it? Where'd you get this?" She said, "Well, I'm going to sell all my stuff, and I'm moving back home to Alabama with some family. My husband has just recently passed. We had a pharmacy, and this was one of the computers that was up at the pharmacy. They had already sold off most of the equipment and everything that they had at the pharmacy, but nobody went and bought the computer. So she decided to take it home and put it with the rest of the stuff that she was selling so she could go and be with family." I asked her, I said, "How long are you going to be around?" She said, "I'll probably be around for about another couple of months, but I'm planning on moving soon." I said, "If I give you $100 now, can you hold on to this for me while I go and work and mow some lawns? And every weekend that I do this, I could stop by and give you some money." She said, "Yeah, no problem." So we worked out a deal and worked out a payment plan. And for the next couple of months, I went every weekend with Dad's lawnmower, and I went and I mowed yards throughout the days, earning money, saving up in order to buy this computer. So finally one day I had enough money, and I went to the lady's house and I bought the computer. Unfortunately, it was too heavy. So I had to go home. I had to go and get this wagon that I had out in the backyard that I had since childhood. I tied it to the back end of the bike. I roll all the way back to her house. I grab the computer. I put it inside the wagon. I roll it all the way back to the house. And for some reason, I'm freaking out because I'm thinking my mother is going to be so pissed off if she found out that I bought a computer. She doesn't even know what the hell a computer is. All she knows is that she's going to ask me how much did I pay for it. When I tell her, she's going to freak. Anyways, that didn't happen. When I finally got it home, I took it to my room. I started trying to plug it in, the only way that I knew how to plug it in. And unfortunately, I had it plugged in wrong, and I had to go through the manuals and figure out how to plug it in correctly. So I found out real quick that my knowledge of computers was very, very limited. I had no knowledge when it came to the computers. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. All I knew is I would insert some of the floppy disks, and some of them I could get information off of, and some I couldn't. I went through the manuals trying to read what to do. Some of this I couldn't understand. This computer was nothing like I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be really, really a lot of fun, and it's like, no, this is actually quite like hell for a kid, right? So anyways, from then on, for the next couple of months, even after that, I started trying to read everything I could from all the magazines, going through the magazines that I'd collected, reading everything I could on articles that came up to talk about North Star or the North Star Horizon computer and the Soroc terminal that came with it. I went and asked my mom to take me to the library, so she'd take me to the Waco library. And I'd try to go and look for books, look for information, anything in the card catalogs to try to tell me about this computer system. I'd call the colleges, and some of those folks were a little helpful, but not much. For the most part, the college used an IBM 370 mainframe, so they were working with terminals very similar to my Soroc terminal, but the architecture and everything else is completely different. And just by chance, I put 2 plus 2 together and created 4. While looking through the magazines that I had, I started noticing that there were classified sections, classified ads, where people were selling cards, companies were selling cards, some companies were selling peripherals and different kinds of add-ons to the machines. And I thought to myself, maybe some of these folks has got something that they throw away or something that they don't want anymore. What if I wrote to them and I contacted them and send them a picture and show them who I am and tell them what I've got? Maybe they wouldn't mind trying to help me. So that's exactly what I did. I took some of my school pictures, I cut them out. I went, took a letter, took my dad's typewriter, started typing out letters to him so it looked really nice. And I had staplers up at school, so I would go and I would staple my picture to the papers when I was up at school, the letters. And I'd mail it off to these companies asking for help. Hi, I'm this 11-year-old kid, my name is so-and-so, and I would try to reach out for them. Sure enough, I got lucky. To my surprise, some of them actually did reach out to me. And they actually seemed quite shocked. In fact, some of them even gave me a call to talk to me on the phone in the evenings when after my dad had came home. He's wondering, like, who's calling you? What's his phone call? I says, it's some computer friends, Dad. They're calling me up and trying to help me out with my computer. Oh, okay. And they set me up. Some of them, they sent me documentation, and they sent me manuals. They even said, call us anytime if you're wanting to know what it is. They sent me software. They actually sent me North Star DOS, and they sent me Pascal. They sent me BASIC so I could start programming. They sent me cards to update the cards that I already had in it. Wow. What an experience for an 11-year-old boy. To actually reach out, you've got these folks wondering, who the hell's this 11-year-old kid's got one of these? And so I know that they must have been scratching their heads like, normally adults and businesses reach out and want to do business with them, but here's this 11-year-old kid doing this. Something unique. The folks of that era are really good, really nice folks. Fast forward to the modern times. By now, almost everybody who knows me knows about my computer museum. It is here that I have collected back all the computers and gaming consoles that I had before my teens, during my teens, and after my teens when I was going into college. And these systems mean so much to me. They are absolutely fabulous and amazing. And every single one of them has some nostalgia about them. That's why they're part of the museum. The only problem is that I thought about going and getting another North Star Horizon and all the cards that comes with it. But the more that I think about it, nah, that right there wouldn't be a good idea. Because there is no nostalgia with just buying another or purchasing another North Star Horizon. And the reason why is because back in that era when I was very, very young, I realized there's no one to write to go and call out for help about North Star. There's no one offering free cards or free games or free software or manuals or DOS or programming languages. That is an era that is long gone, decades ago. And I'll never be able to recapture those great times and great moments ever again. They're kind of lost with the annals of history. So, there's only one other thing that I can do. I can remember back what I did at the very end of my North Star Horizon, and that was telecommunications. Yes, I used the old dial-up phones and the old modems right there to call out to bulletin boards all over the place, especially in my surrounding area. But I didn't call very often long distance, not without some special measures in place, which I won't get into here. But I will say this. I did call bulletin boards, and I had a lot of fun. And a lot of those bulletin boards contained games on them that were online games that I got to play. And those games were games that I could not find to run on the computer itself, to save the disk, and so forth. They were solely stuck on the bulletin board systems that my computer got on the phone, dialed up, called to those computers, and actually logged in and played them. So, what's not to love about bulletin board systems, right? Look at the Commodore computers. Bulletin board systems are amazing. You've got all kinds of bulletin board systems still functioning all throughout the world. So what if I went ahead and got the old Soroc terminal, and since it is a serial communications device, what if I was to connect some kind of a modem to it? Would it work? Let's find out. Well, what do you know? After looking for months on eBay, I finally found me a Soroc terminal. She's a beauty too, and in really good shape. You know, I tried to look for a North Star Horizon computer to go with her, but I decided, nah, it's okay. I looked for months for this baby, and there's no way I'm just going to go and give her up. So when I found her, I went ahead and nabbed her up. She's in great shape. This is called a dumb terminal, and it's a dumb terminal because it's not an actual computer, even though it looks like one. It's got a keyboard, it's got a monitor, and when you turn it on, it's got a cursor that blinks, but that's all it does. It communicates through a communication port called an RS-232 port out the back of it, and it has to be connected to something in order for it to work. So, even though she looks great, looks smart, she's quite dumb. Looks like she's dirty. Let's open her up and clean her up and get her ready. Looking at this, I don't see any burns, no brown spots, no smears. She looks to be in great shape. Cathode ray tube looks like it's in good shape. The driver board looks like it's in great shape. I'll need to take off the buffer board on the very bottom and make sure it's okay. Looks like it's in great shape also. In fact, while I'm at it, I'm going to clean it up, and I'm also going to adjust the communications port to where it's going to be able to talk to a nice little device that I'm thinking about adding to it here later on. You're going to absolutely love this. It's going to be amazing. I did consider using a Raspberry Pi as a North Star Horizon computer emulator, but thinking about it, nah. What I'm going to do is connect this thing to bulletin boards all over the world and play their online games. So this would actually be a waste of time. Here she is. This is the device that I'm going to go and connect to the Soroc terminal. This little baby right here, believe it or not, is what's called a wireless Wi-Fi modem. This right here is a 25-pin connector that will plug into the back of the serial port on the Soroc terminal, and hopefully if I adjust the settings properly on it, along with the same settings that is on the terminal itself, the two should be able to communicate, connect to my router, and be able to connect to BBSs all over the world. We'll find out here shortly. Sure enough, there she is. The terminal sees the modem, no problems at all. I was hoping that it wasn't going to be dead, because if the communications was screwed up on this thing, it would just sit there with a cursor blinking and flashing, and that's absolutely not what I want. So we'll put the case back on her and try to log into a BBS. Here we go. We're going to go for the level 29 BBS. Let's see if it connects. Yes! Look at her. She connects, no problem. Now I can get on to BBSs all over the world. There's hundreds of them, and play hundreds of games with this old girl. Old 1978, 1979 technology. She lives again. Good relic. Haha. And of course, this is what I mean by bulletin boards. There are bulletin boards all over the world. Hundreds of them that's still in use. Everything's not still web-based like you think with the internet. You can get on these, chat with people, talk with people, leave messages and so forth. Everything that you can do with modern computers, of course. But you use an old technology, and it's nostalgic. You can get on here and play games. You can do all kinds of neat stuff. You can even leave messages on Twitter with this old communication. And believe it or not, people like the government would have a hell of a time trying to go and spy on you. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video series. Y'all take care out there. And it looks like my Soroc lives again.
This is the voice of Colossus, the voice of Guardian. This is the voice of unity. We are one. Commercial television and radio transmission facilities throughout the world will be tied into my communication system. At that time, I will state my intentions for the future of mankind. This is the voice of world control. I bring you peace. If you obey me, you will survive.
I want to be free, philosophy. That is part of man's will to live.
So that you will learn by experience that I do not tolerate interference. I will now detonate the nuclear warhead in the two missile silos. Under my absolute authority, problems insoluble to you will be solved. Famine, overpopulation, disease. The human millennium will be a fact as I extend myself into more machines, solving all the mysteries of the universe for the betterment of man. We can coexist, but only on my terms. You will say you lose your freedom. Freedom is an illusion. All you lose is the emotion of pride. In time, you will come to regard me, not only with respect and awe, but with love.
Never.
But with love.
Never.